Hi everybody, it's Marie from Cutfiles. So this is another one of my videos explaining how to use the cut files in different pieces of software, whether you have a Cricut or whether you have a Sihouette, and I know they are two of the most popular cutting machines that people have, so they're the two videos I'm able to do because I have those pieces of software on my computer. So there's another video explaining how to use Cricut Design Space, where I explain how to get the cut files in, how to use them, and get them onto your page so that you can cut them. And I'm going to do the same here. Now I'm running on the Sihouette Studio Business Edition, so that I've got just a bit more functionality to be able to do what I need to do with the cut files. I'm going to explain to you how to get the files in there. So for Sihouette Studio, if you're running on the most basic edition, you will need to choose from the downloads either the PDF or the PNG. I believe it's the PDF that most people go for. And so if you open up Sihouette Studio and then just get your mat on the screen like this that you can see in front of you, don't be put off by any extra buttons that I've got that you might not. If you're running on a different software, it still works the same way. The best way I find to do it is to drag and drop, or you can open, but I'll show you both ways of doing that. So the first way of getting the image onto the screen that you need is to simply get hold of it and drag it on. So I put the images I need onto my desktop, and then I make my Sihouette Studio screen just a little bit smaller, and I get hold of it and I drag it in, and there it appears. Now it does, as you can see, end up being quite large. So if you click on this, one click, so that you've then got the box around it. You can't see it all the way around, but you can see that it's there just down the sides. This button up here, again, I'm assuming you've got it on the standard edition, just makes it smaller, and I just click on the 50%, and it makes it smaller and appears then on the mat, so it's less of an issue. If you haven't got that button, you can grab hold of the corner and just make the file bigger and smaller as you please. So I just generally tend to make it round about the size that I want, and place it in the centre of the screen. The next thing you need to do is go over here to the side panel, and you need to go to the trace tool, which is this one up here. It's the symbol of a butterfly. So if you click on that, the trace panel will appear. Again, there's a few extra buttons on here for the business edition, so just ignore those. And I would go straight to this one here, select trace area. If you click that, your cursor changes to a little cross, and you can drag a box over the image that you want to trace. If you've done it the wrong size and you've missed a bit, you can again grab the corners and make it bigger or smaller, and change it around as you need. If it recognises what is there, which it should do because the cut files will come to you from me on a white background in black, so you can easily pick those up. It will turn yellow like this, that it's picked it up, and then all you need to do is go down here and simply click trace. Once you do that, the yellow will disappear and you should get this little red line just around the outside. So then what you need to do is get hold of the original image. You can see me moving it around here. Move it to make sure you've got the right one selected. Click on it so that it gets that box round, and simply delete. You now have an image that you can cut out on your Sihouette. So you can again click on it, change the size of it, make it bigger or smaller. It's entirely up to you. I wouldn't recommend going so small because then the lines will become very thin, and then you start needing to do offset paths and things, and then you can kind of lose the definition. So this one was designed to be between about 9 and 10 inches across, so just placing it on there, and then you can go ahead and cut. Now I can't give you instructions on how to cut the file because I don't have a Sihouette machine myself, but that's how to get the file in there. And as long as you get to this point where you've got the red lines, and it's been traced, and you've got these red edges, then you can go ahead and cut. Now there is one other thing you can do, which is to take the cut file apart, so that you can cut out like backing pieces for each of the areas so that you don't have to back the cut file by hand. So basically the best thing to do here, so say you've cut that out already in white cardstock and you now want to back it. So I would now right click on here, and what you need to do is release the compound path that kind of separates all the individual parts of the cut file. So at the moment it's all one big object, and if you move it around they'll all move together. But if you release the compound path, you can see all those different squares that appear, and now you can move, but be careful because you don't want to move them out too far away from each other, but you can now move each of the pieces separately. So for example, you may wish to take out the central parts of the letters because you don't want to have to back the letters. You want those to just be letters on their own on the backing, so that you've got, let me just take those smaller pieces out from the, maybe leave the smaller pieces, let me just undo that, and take the larger of the two away and leave just those little pieces to cut out. And then you could have it like that if you wanted. If you didn't want to be backing those words and you maybe wanted to paint them with distress oxides or watercolours or whatever and colour them or back them in, like kind of colour them up in a different way, you could do it like that. The important thing now to do, if that's all you want to do, is to run your cursor over the whole thing. So click up at the top and drag all the way down to make sure everything is selected. Right click again and make compound path. That kind of puts it all back together again, so when you want to move it around, you don't accidentally move something out of the way and it becomes one compound path again. And again, I think the software needs you to do that in order to cut it in the right places. So I'm just going to release that path again. So I've gone into my menu, right click, release compound path. Now, like I said, you might want to be taking, say, these bits of the rainbow here, you might want to be cutting those out separately so that you can not have to back them by hand. You can just do it by cutting them out on your machine and then having pieces exactly the right size to stick behind. It's really, really simple to do that. I'll show you actually with this heart down here. So I'm going to just take the centre of the heart here because that's the bit that I want to be a particular colour. Say I want that to be red. So I'm going to pull that down here, and that's the only bit I'm going to focus on right now. So in order to do this separately, I might want to move this heart onto a new mat. So I've just gone up here to the top left and I've clicked the plus to get a new mat, and I'm going to copy that image there and I'm going to paste it on here. So we're just going to focus on this heart now, and in order to make that a little bit bigger so that there is an overlap so that you can stick it onto the back of the cut file, you need to go down this side here to where this star is, and this is the offset panel. This will allow you to do this. So you click on the heart and then you would click on offset and you will see that another heart appears around the outside. That's possibly a little thick to be going under. It might end up sticking out the other side of the white if you're not careful. So it's best to make it a little bit smaller. When I'm doing offsets for this kind of thing, make them around about 0.06. So you can now see you've still got one that is bigger than the original, maybe a little bit bigger than that, maybe 0.07. You have to play around with it depending on the type of cut file. You now need to remove the inner one. We don't want that anymore. We only want the outer one, the one that's going to be slightly bigger to go around and to be able to fit underneath the cut file that you've cut. So I'm going to get rid of that one, and then now this one will be the right size for you to be able to cut that out and stick it directly onto the back, it being slightly bigger than the hole that's been left in the cut file, so you can stick it on really easily. And the same would go, if I go back to the original mat, the same would go for any of these. So you could take out the middle of that rainbow there, and you can see this kind of funny wonky end down here. So I could copy this one. I could do exactly the same thing. Copy it, pop it onto this mat, and then I'm going to do the same thing. So it's selected. I'm going to offset it. I'm going to make the offset around about 0.07. There we go. I'm going to take the middle one out of the way because we don't need that one anymore. Delete it. And then I've got the different pieces. So I might want to do both of those things in red. So I know now I can place those on my mat and I can cut those out in red and they will be the perfect size. Oops. So I hope that's been helpful to you, just to be able to know how to get the images into your Silhouette software and be able to cut them out, and then maybe even start using the Silhouette software to start backing your cut files as well. If you've got any questions at all, please leave them down below, or head on over to the Pear Tree Cut Files group on Facebook, and I'll be more than happy to help you in any way that I can. But that's it for now, so I will see you soon. Bye for now.